So, what's really on the horizon for one of the world's most critical economies? Well, the official plans are still in the works, but a really fascinating analysis from Guijin Macro gives us a sneak peek, a forecast, really, of what might be coming down the pike. All right, let's dive into this projection for China's next 5 years. This is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? As China gears up for its 15th five-year plan, which is going to run from 2026 to 2030, everybody's trying to read the tea leaves and figure out the next big strategic moves. You know, this period is seen as absolutely crucial for hitting their big 2035 modernization goals. And according to this forecast, the entire grand strategy could really boil down to just two massive, deeply connected pillars. Now, it's super important to remember this is a projection, right? It's not official policy yet. But the core idea here is that these two pillars are designed to work together to create this powerful cycle that drives what they're calling high-quality growth. Okay, so Pillar 1 is all about looking inward. For decades, China's growth story was all about investment and exports. This analysis predicts a huge pivot, a fundamental shift to transform the country from being the world's factory into a gigantic consumer market. Now, this chart right here, wow. It shows both the massive challenge and the absolutely mind-blowing opportunity. Look at that. Chinese citizens consume less than 40% of their economy's output. That number is just dwarfed by the US at nearly 70%. Can you just imagine the economic firepower that gets unleashed if they even start to close that gap? That's the whole game for this first pillar.
This quote really nails the ambition here. It's not about ditching their manufacturing muscle, not at all. It's about building on top of it. The idea is to create a domestic engine so powerful it can drive the whole next phase of development, making their economy way more resilient to whatever is happening in the rest of the world.
So how in the world you get 1.4 billion people to open their wallets? Well, this analysis points to three main levers. First, shake up how income is distributed to get more cash into the hands of the middle and lower income folks. Second, beef up the social safety net, things like pensions and healthcare, so people don't feel like they have to save every last penny for a rainy day. And third, a whole new way of thinking about urbanization.
And that third lever, it's huge. We're talking about 250 million people, 250 million migrant workers. The thinking is, by giving them better access to city services, like schools and hospitals, and reforming those old residency rules, you can unlock this enormous wave of spending. It's about turning them from just workers into full-on urban consumers.
And another massive opportunity is in services. As countries get richer, people start spending more on experiences, healthcare, travel, entertainment. China's still playing catch-up here compared to where other big economies were at a similar point. Analysts see this gap as a potential multi-trillion-dollar prize. But, creating all this new demand is only half the story. The other half is all about what they'll be buying.
And that brings us to Pillar 2, the high-tech leapfrog. This is all about technology and innovation, and it revolves around this buzzword that's been popping up everywhere, new quality productive forces. This is all about moving up the food chain from just assembling products to actually inventing them.
So, what does this phrase actually mean? Well, basically, it's a huge strategic shift. Instead of relying on cheap labor and massive capital investment for growth, the focus is now on cutting-edge tech. We're talking AI, biotech, advanced robotics. It's not just about making things anymore. It's about making the next generation of things. And the why behind this push is crystal clear. The analysis points to three big drivers. First, breaking through those critical choke points in tech where China still depends on other countries. Second, dealing with some seriously fierce global competition. And third, avoiding that classic middle income trap, where a country's growth just stalls out after it gets to a certain point. And believe me, this isn't just some vague goal. The forecast points to a very specific shopping list of strategic sectors. I mean, look at this. It's basically the foundation of a 21st century economy. The predicted goal here is to become self-sufficient and, eventually, a global leader in all these critical fields. But hey, if you want to lead, you have to invent. And this chart shows a potential hurdle. Basic research. We're talking that fundamental, pie-in-the-sky science that leads to the biggest breakthroughs is still way underfunded in China compared to other tech giants. So the forecast suggests we're probably going to see a major push to crank up that spending. This donut chart really puts the whole challenge in perspective. For all the talk about high tech, over 80% of China's manufacturing is still in old-school industries.
So this new quality productive forces idea isn't just about building shiny new sectors, it's about using advanced tech to completely transform that huge existing base, while also trying to make that little high-tech slice of the pie a whole lot bigger.
Okay, so we've got these two giant pillars, boosting your own market and leaping ahead in technology. But here's the really clever part of this projected plan. They're not separate strategies at all. They're designed to be a powerful, self-reinforcing loop. Here's exactly how it's supposed to work. Pillar 1, that booming domestic market, creates this huge appetite for the high-tech goodies developed under Pillar 2. Think electric vehicles, smart home gadgets, advanced medical gear, and at the exact same time, Pillar 2 creates better-paying, higher-skilled jobs and cool new products, which then fuels even more domestic spending. See, each pillar just feeds the other. It's a cycle.
And the one bedrock rule undergirding this entire vision is a serious commitment to not letting their manufacturing base just wither away. The goal isn't to become a purely service-based economy. It's to maintain a strong and increasingly high-tech industrial sector as the foundation of all their economic power. So it all comes down to this one big question. This forecast lays out a super ambitious blueprint for tackling huge challenges, from a weak domestic market to intense global rivalries. If this prediction is even close to right, the world is about to see a massive, coordinated effort to build a whole new kind of economic superpower, when powered by its own people and its own technology. The next 5 years are going to tell us if it can actually work,